Hey, this is Rich McDonald, and I play Commander David Mason on Call of Duty Black Ops 2. And you're listening to Everything Geek Podcast.
Hello, I'm Simon Fisherbecker. You probably know me better as Dorian Moldovar from Doctor Who, or the Fat Friar from Harry Potter. And this is Everything Geek Podcast.
Your attention, masters, mistresses. All systems functional for the Everything Geek Podcast.
Hey, it's James Arnold Taylor, the voice of Obi-Wan Kenobi and
Master Poku
in Star Wars The Clone Wars, and you're listening to Everything Geek, the podcast.
Face it, Tiger. You just hit the jackpot with the Everything Geek Podcast.
Hello everyone, you're listening to the Everything Geek Podcast. I'm your host Troy, and joining me today is a very special guest. We have actor Chris Chalk, who plays Lucius Fox in Gotham, and also played Clement in 12 Years a Slave, Gary Cooper in The Newsroom, Tom Walker in Homeland, and Darius Bishop in Complications, and he has been promoted to a main cast member for the second season of Gotham, which begins airing on September 21st. Chris, how are you?
I'm wonderful.
It's a pleasure to have you join us today on the podcast, and congratulations, of course, on being promoted to a main cast member on Gotham. That's a pretty big deal.
Yeah, it's really great. Especially as a comic book fan, it's really nice to be able to join in on this influx of superhero movies and television shows at such a high quality. So I'm super excited to be a part of this stuff.
Definitely. So getting into my first question for you, Chris, my first question is, how did you decide you wanted to become an actor?
Well, I started acting when I was young, not for money, but I started acting in community theater and theater in elementary school, and then sometime in my senior year of high school, or after high school, we got a huge, amazing theater department that opened up so many possibilities. And then the next year, we got a film and TV department, and then someone told me I could go to college for acting. I was going to go for, finance. But they said you can go for acting, and I was like, well, I'd probably be better at that than money management. And then it just kind of kept going. I just kept clear on wanting to be an actor, and that's what I'm currently enjoying so much right now.
That's great, definitely. Moving on to my second question, how were you initially cast as Lucius Fox in Gotham?
Well, I actually just got a call. They called my manager and my agent, and they said, they coupled up the year before I had auditioned for a police officer on Gotham, and it just didn't work out because of the schedule. But I really like Bruno, and I really love the writing, but it just didn't work out. So a year later, they called and said, would you like the role of Lucius Fox? Because I knew the casting director and writers, and they were fans of my previous work. And I was, it's kind of a no-brainer. I was like, yes, I would like to. Let's get on top of it right now. Let's figure out how to make it work for everybody. Because Lucius Fox is an awesome character in the canon of that.
Yeah, I know. I mean, he's such a significant character, and I know you are a big comic book fan yourself, so it must have been pretty exciting when you got the call and they wanted you to play Lucius Fox, because he's such an iconic Batman character as well. So, moving on to my third question. Congratulations on being promoted to a series regular in the second season of Gotham. When you got the role of Lucius Fox, did you predict right away that you would become a regular, and has anything changed for you as an actor playing the characters as a regular? For example, being on the show more regularly compared to a new cast member on the previous season?
I feel like the preparation and the excitement is all the same. It's I came in, and actually when we made the contract, it was with during that first season, it was with the idea that there would be, if I got picked up for the second season, I would be a series regular. So I already went into it assuming it being Lucius Fox and being important, not knowing if they were going to be at that part of the storytelling because he's such a young Batman, but hoping, that they would be. So knowing all that, I went in with the same idea and the same preparation of being the best Lucius Fox ever. We know he's alive and well in the story of most of the Batman. And so I just kind of wanted to bring my own flair to it.
Yeah, definitely, and I agree that was always likely that Lucius would become a series regular on the show. So, moving on to my fourth question, Chris. I felt when watching your first episode as Lucius Fox that it was like you were portraying a younger version of Morgan Freeman's version of the character from the Dark Knight trilogy, of course. That is meant as a compliment. Was this intentional, and did you feel like you were doing a younger version of his character? You did just mention that you were trying to do your own take on the character.
I don't feel like. I think Morgan Freeman's version of Lucius Fox is amazing. Obviously, it's one we all remember because he's such an incredible actor with such a distinct presence. But I think we all forget that Lucius Fox was a person before Morgan Freeman was a person, was playing him. And so I am not looking to portray anywhere near Morgan Freeman's version, but I think we will end up bringing similar qualities to him because of who Lucius Fox is. Because of what Lucius Fox's personality is, and how I interpret it. I imagine we both will come across some of the same ideas when portraying it.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's a really great answer because, as you said, most of the characters in Gotham, well, all of them really, are younger versions of characters that we've seen before in the films, and for the most part, I do feel like there are a lot of differences. So, yeah, it's a really interesting answer. Thank you for that. Moving on from Gotham for the moment, 12 Years a Slave is considered by many fans to be an inspirational film. As a featured actor in the film yourself, do you think that films like this are a great way to bring more attention to issues in the real world?
I do. I think, movies like 12 Years a Slave, any movie that tells an honest story about any past tragedy is so important because of, I feel like, at least in the American education system, as I experience it, there's sometimes a softening of history, so that it's more digestible for the young ears listening to it. But it's important that we find individual truths and individual stories so that we can really deal with, like, the past traumas that every country has been through, Every country has been through its own, massive destruction of people. And I think the more we're honest about that in country, the more we can heal as a country. So like 12 Years, what I love that it did is it brought a human face to a huge idea, which makes it a little bit easier to handle. Like when you take slavery and turn it into this one person's struggle, this one person's story, and what they did to get through it, it makes it so that it's more human, so that more people can accept that this thing did happen and forgive themselves even, and remove shame from the whole equation and just acknowledge the truth of it. So I love historical dramas and when these truths come to light.
Yeah, definitely. That's a really interesting answer. Like you, I prefer it when, they're very honest with the stories, because I do agree with the point you were saying that in some, systems, maybe certain details in history are overlooked because they may be too traumatic for some people learning them. Always, as you said, I prefer it when honesty is used, even if the details are a bit traumatic. So I think it's a really excellent point you bring up. So moving on to my final question for you, Chris. Aside from Gotham, obviously, which is coming back very soon, do you have any other upcoming acting roles or any other projects you would like to talk about?
Well, there's a few actually. Speaking of what we were just talking about, historical dramas and, those accuracies coming to light, there's a television show on WGN called Underground that I was privileged enough to be the part of, which is about a group of slaves who are discovering the Underground Railroad. They're escaping their slavery, and it's a story that's told from three different perspectives: of the slave catcher, of a white person attempting to be, a positive force in abolishing slavery, and then from the slave point of view. And so it's a really honest look at these three different perspectives and how every one of them is like adamant and believes what they're doing is the right thing. And it just helps you understand even the mind of the slave catcher, which is something none of us want to sympathize with. But it's an interesting thing when something makes you go, oh, I guess if you really blindly believe something, it's hard to break out of it. But it just means that person was informed incorrectly. It doesn't mean they're the worst person in the world. It just means they were blind at an early age. Another film I just worked on was one called Come and Find Me with Aaron Paul, where he's a young man who wakes up one day and his girlfriend's missing, and there begins the drama. And then, is that it? Oh, and then Complications just ended on USA, which was just such a great thing to be a part of with Jason O'Mara, Beth Leescraft, Lauren Neal, and Jessica Shore. And it was just such a pleasure to be a part of that as well. And then, we'll see what else is to come.
Definitely, very exciting, and we'll be sure to keep an eye out for projects you mentioned. So that's all of our questions for you today, Chris. It's been a pleasure talking to you on the podcast.
Dealing with my connection over here.
That's okay, and we're looking forward to seeing a lot more of Lucius Fox in the second season of Gotham. So hopefully we'll talk to you again soon then.
I look forward to talking again soon.
Great, so we'll talk to you again soon then. Bye, and thanks again for joining us.
Thank you so much.
Take care, bye. So that was our interview with actor Chris Chalk. I hope you enjoyed listening to it, and our very first guest from Gotham on the podcast, would you believe? It's kind of hard to think that's already 1 year old. I say that in the sense that, its second season begins airing on Monday. Now, it was a short and sweet interview, and I think that'll actually make it nicer because hopefully we can get it on our YouTube channel very quickly. That's, a nice tease, I'll say. So, yeah, as I was saying, that was our interview with actor Chris Chalk, and I hope you enjoyed listening to it. We'll definitely have some more Gotham guests coming very soon. In fact, you might even get another main cast member announcement soon. You did not hear that from me. Actually, you kind of did. I'm the only one hosting today. So, you must have heard it from me. So, yeah. So, time to wrap up today's interview. So, make sure to check out our podcast links. Check out our Facebook page, www.facebook.com/everythinggeekpodcast. Check out the podcast YouTube channel, www.youtube.com/user/everythinggeekcast. Check us out on Twitter, twitter.com/everythinggeekp. Check us out on Instagram, instagram.com/official everythinggeekpodcast. Check out our Mixcloud profile, www.mixcloud.com/everythinggeekpodcast. Email us at below email, everythinggeekpodcast@gmail.com. Check out our companion podcast, Everything Geek Comiccast, www.facebook.com/everythinggeekcomiccast. Make sure to check out the hosts' YouTube channels. Mine is www.youtube.com/user/separatist